Good night, sir. My name is Adriano Tojo, and this is going to be the explanation about the cross-cultural background between three different cultures. So for the first track, it's going to be the Amish community. Amish, also called Mennonite, is a small member of a Christian group in North America. So Jacob, so when it comes to the history, Jacob Ammon was born in 1644 and died in 1713. Was a Mennonite leader whose controversial teaching caused a schism among his co-religionists in Switzerland, Alaska, and southern Germany. Ammon insisted that any excommunicated Mennonite church member shall be shunned socially and that anyone who lies shall be excommunicated. Following Jesus' example, he introduced foot washing into the worship service and taught that church members should dress in a uniform manner, that beard should not be trimmed, and that it was wrong to attend service in a state church. Although Haman sought reconciliation with the Mennonites, he continued to insist that all who had been excommunicated should be avoided, and therefore his attempts at reconciliation failed. Amish communities sprang up in Switzerland, Alaska, Germany, Russia, and Holland. But immigration to North America in the 19th and 20th centuries and assimilation with Mennonite groups gradually eliminated the Amish Europe. So the Amish began immigrating to North America in early 18th century. They first settled in eastern Pennsylvania, where a large settlement remains. Schemes and disruption occurred after 1850 because of the tension between the new order of Amish, who accepted social changes and technological innovation, and the old order, or traditional Amish, who largely did not. During the next 50 years, about two-thirds of the Amish formed separate. Small churches of their own joined either the Mennonite Church or the General Conference Mennonite Church. Most traditional Amish are members of the Old Order Amish Mennonite in Church. In the early 21st century, there were about 250,000 Amish living in more than 200 Old Order Amish settlements in the United States and Canada. The largest were located in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, and Kansas, and others were found in Wisconsin, Maine, Missouri, and Minnesota. Their settlements are divided into church district, an autonomous congregation of about 75 baptized members. If the districts become much larger, it is again divided because members meet in each other homes. There are no church buildings. Each district has a bishop, two for preachers, and an elder, but there are no general conference, mission groups, or cooperative agency. Next is about the beliefs on the Amish community. Humility, family, community, and separation from the world are the mainstay of the Amish. Everyday life and custom are governed by an unwritten code of behavior called the Artman, and shunning remains an integral way in which the community deal with disobedient members. In formal religious doctrines, the Amish differ little from the Mennonites. Holy Communion is celebrated twice a year and foot washing is practiced by both groups. Persons are baptized when they are admitted to formal membership in the church about the age of 17 to 20 years. So the religious services are conducted in High German and Pennsylvania Dutch. An ex-mixture of High German, various German dialects, and English is spoken at home and is common in daily discourse. The service, the services are held on a rotating basis in family homes and barns. A large wagon filled with benches for the service and dishes and food for the meal that follow will often be pulled to the house property. In most Hamish homes, a special place is reserved alongside the Bible for the martyr's mirror, a book chronicling Amish history and honoring the many Amish, Mennonite, and Anabaptist forebears who died for their faith. The budget, established in 1890, is the national newspaper serving the many Amish and Mennonite communities. It is published in Frederick and Ohio. Okay, next is the educational system. First is that the Amish believe strongly in education, but only provide formal education through the A grade. So they believe that the students has to prepare themselves and prepare themselves to face the adult world, such as becoming a carpenter, agriculture, and other stuff that related to be idle. Next is that the schooling concentrate on the basic reading, writing, and math skills, along with vocational training and socialization in Amish history and values. So the Amish educational system is basically the same like the other schools in around the country. It's just the thing that makes it slightly different is that the fact that the Amish community only provide uh, education until eighth grade. That's it. Next is the facts about Amish community. First one is that they have mandatory secular experimentation. Second one is that Amish is not a race. So Amish is not like some type of group that came from a generation to generation. They are like urban that being collected to one by one to form a new group. And one size overall does not fit all. They love volleyball. They love volleyball because they think that by playing volleyball, they can share their emotion and feelings with each other. And also they love playing horseshoes. So for those of you who don't know what is horseshoes, horseshoe is like the type of shoe that used for horses. Uh, and the shape of it is usually the letter U conjuncted with iron. And usually people play that to just enjoying themselves. Next one is don't call them Mennonite because there's also another group that their look are obviously look the same like the Amish community. It's just the fact that they are not really that similar, but only their uh, outer looks the same. That's why people are often to misjudge them by calling them Mennonite. Next one is they grow religious bird. The last one is that they are all drop out. Okay. Next is the Native American. So the Indians, also called Native American, were the first North American settlers to come to Asia more than 20,000 years ago. So the brief explanation about the history is that long before Christopher Columbus set foot on what will come to be known as the Americas, the expansive territory was inhabited by Native Americans throughout the 16th and 17th centuries. As more explorers sought to colonize their land, Native Americans responded in various stages, from cooperation to ignition to revolt. After siding with the French in numerous battles during the French and Indian War and eventually being forcibly removed from their homes under Andrew Jackson Indian Removal Act, Native American population were diminished in size and territory by the end of the 19th century. Below are events that shaped Native Americans to Methuselah's history following the arrival of foreign settlers. So over 1,000 years ago, as they migrate across the continents, American Indians have developed a wide range of language, customs, and civilization. There are as many different tribal nations in the Americas as there are nations in Europe, Asia, or Africa. And there is as much as variety among them. So 10,000 years ago, when the Ice Age ended, change in climate and increasing population inspired some Native American tribes to experiment with growing different crops. Some become highly skilled farmers, and as an early adult, as about 5,000 and 500 before century. Tribes in Mexico cultivated corn and squash. They raised turkeys, llamas, and guinea pigs for food, and they hunted deer and bison. They regularly burn off patches of land to keep it in pasture, so the animal will come to graze. Many tribes of the coast hunted sea mammals from boat and caught fish using a variety of efficient methods. After 2000 BC, some Native Americans developed states, each growing thousands of people. They established extensive trade route across the continents, and they use cargo raft and other boats to ship their goods from one trading point to another. In South America, llamas provide transportation on land. From the present-day region of the Midwestern United States to southern Peru in South America, center of government were marked by enormous mounds of earth. Most of these mounds were plowed on top, with palaces, temples on below them. Some were burial sites of honorable leaders. American Indian city was as big as the city in Europe and Asia at the time. Their fine architecture is still greatly admired. Next is about the beliefs. American Indian cultures emphasize harmony with nature, endurance, and suffering. and respect non-interference toward others. A strong belief that man is inherently good and should be respected for his decisions, such as values, making individuals and families in difficulty very reluctant to seek help. The educational system. The Interior Department Bureau of Indian Education, or BIE, currently supports over 183 schools on 64 representations in 23 states, with approximately 48,000 students in total. Next one is that native students around the country still languish in failing school and often face worse outcomes than their white, black, and Latino peers. Next slide is about the issue that surrounding Native American education. First one is the curriculum issues. Next one is the lack of technology, lack of skilled teacher, physical structure issue, and lack of funding, and difficult to define, and also lack of early childhood education. Facts about Native American. First one is that Native people were first located in the early 18th, and Native American heritage might evolve from a week. And also Columbus did not discover America. The trail of their marks important history. Native Americans were granted citizenship in the 1920s. Native people have many unique language and also tribes. Okay, so the last tribe is going to be the Moi tribe. The Moi tribe is one of the tribes in Papua. They inhabit Sorong City, South Sorong Regency, and Raja Ampat. The educational system, the first one is that modern education system in West Papua improved a lot as an effort to improve human development index in Papua. The government improved the quality of modern education system in Papua. So Kambik makes Moi tribe even more extraordinary because it's not very common for an ethnic group to have its own established education system. Kambik is a very important treasure for Moi people, and the knowledge is exclusively taught to be the members of the tribe. So the modern education system first arrived in Sorong in 1927 with when the colonial government established a formal school with only 26 students. Up to 1970, formal school is still very rare in West Papua. However, because Moi tribe has its own educational system, the Moi people was never uneducated. Of course, the lessons taught in Kambik are very different with what the students learn in school, formal schools. However, underestimating Kambik is definitely unwise because it teaches practical knowledge that the students can apply directly in real life. Kambik has existed for generations, long before modern education system arrived in Papua. So the only boys are eligible to learn in Kambik system. And this is not because the tribe doesn't appreciate women or think women are second-class citizens, but simply because the knowledge are exclusive to Moi tribe. The woman is allowed to study in Cambridge system as well. It is possible that the tribe secret will be spread outside the woman is married to a man from the other tribe. So the Cambridge teaches various knowledge to the students from leadership, the tribe's tradition, and also for students like fishing and farming. Just like formal schools, a student will get academic title when he is graduated from Cambridge. The lowest title is Ansolu, while the highest is Wariek or Sotman. The length of the study period can last to from 18 months. So the teacher of Kambik is the man that had graduated earlier from the informal school. Now let's talk about the main values of Kambik. So Kambik teaches so many important values to the young Moi boys. One of the most important lessons from Kambik is the value of democracy. In Moi tribe, everybody has the same right to speak, to express their minds, and also to live. As a result, the young Moi generation will grow into people who can appreciate their other people's opinion. Furthermore, Kambik also teaches important knowledge about medicine, agriculture, and also fisheries. They live with the nature, and the young generation are taught to appreciate and preserve the nature. As a result, Moi people grow up into skillful people that can take advantages of what the nature has provided without destroying it. This is also the reason why, up to this day, Moi tribe still protects their forest from people who want to convert the forest into palm oil industry. Of course, all the agriculture, fishery, medical knowledge, and other lessons taught in Kambik are still traditional and less society compared to the modern knowledge. However, Moi tribes has lived a simple and humble life without any difficulties with those knowledge. Besides, it is an undeniable fact that none our modern knowledge and technology is superior. Next is the facts about Moi. First one is that the Moi tribe comes from a region called Malamoy. Next one is that the majority of the Moi tribe are Christians. Therefore, the origin of existence and migration of the Moi tribe has been associated with Christian religious beliefs. The Moi tribe has a local wisdom called Agate. And I think that's it from me, sir. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if I have making some mistake in this video. Please forgive me. Thank you.